Hello, everyone.
Hello.
You may have noticed that there is no draft on the screen, that Magic Online is not open, and that Dennis is not wearing any trousers.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
that's no different from any other video.
Why is this, you may wonder? Because we're not doing a draft today.
No,
we are doing a limited impressions kind of video.
Sure.
We're just going to talk about M15 a little bit in sort of through the eye of a mediocre limited player and Denis. And we're going to talk about some of the cards.
We're not going to go through every single card.
No, we're not going to do a full set review because we'd be here all day and you'd be sick of the sound of our voices.
Yeah.
We are going to go through the colors.
Talk about them.
We're going to talk about some archetypes that might be possible.
And some specific cards that we think are interesting.
And also some of the major cycles that are in the set that are exciting.
Yes.
So if this isn't your thing, if you're just here for draft content and nothing else, give it a shot, you know?
People have been saying for a while that we should do something like this.
Yeah.
And people often say they want a podcast.
This is the closest you're going to get to a podcast.
Because we don't think we're interesting enough to warrant a podcast.
No. But we're going to try this out for M15, and if it goes over well, if you guys like it, we might think about doing it for future sets.
For the video component, we are looking at the card image gallery, because as we record this is neither out on Gatherer nor magiccards.info.
Nope, there's very few ways to do it. So what's going to be happening is Dennis is going to be using the search bar as we talk about cards, and he's going to pull them up on the image gallery.
Ta-da!
Yeah. Okay. So, let's get started, shall we? We're going to start in white.
I suppose so.
What's white's general theme in M15? Does it have one?
I think it's kind of divided because it has token makers. Like it has the Kinsbell Skirmisher, the Spirit card,
Triplicate Spirits,
which is here.
It's a 6-mana Convoke, and it makes 3 1/1 spirits.
It has Rouse the Alarm.
Raise the Alarm.
Did I say raise?
You said rouse.
Raise the Alarm, also tokeny.
Excellent card.
But then it has stuff like Soul Mender, which is life gaining and not good. And it has stuff like Divine Favor, which is also life gaining and not amazing.
And Congregate.
And Congregate, which is terrible.
Yeah, so it seems split between what white always ends up stuck with in core sets, which is life gain.
Which is incidental life gain's fine.
Yeah, you have a creature with lifelink, you're super happy. You have a card that says gain some life,
it's
you're
terrible.
Miserable.
Yep.
Because you're down a card and it's worse than fog.
It does, however, white have some of the best removal.
Yes, Devouring Light,
which is right there.
Stupid card.
It's not stupid. It's just
it's
very
so good. Okay, so would you play it without Convoke?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we've seen cards like this before. We've seen things like Divine Verdict, which is totally playable, and that's one more expensive, and it doesn't exile, which means it doesn't get around things like, I don't know.
It's just a double white.
Indestructible, Death Touch, whatever. Death Trigger, I should say. But yeah, it just exiles the card, and you can cast it when you're tapped out.
Yep,
like that's the scariest thing about it.
Big thing, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so like you could play around Divine Verdict because you just don't attack with your threat when they have 4 mana open.
Yeah.
How do you play around Devouring Light if they have number of creatures? So yeah, absolutely excellent card. The other one is, I believe it's called Pillar of Light.
Yep.
Exile a creature with power 4 greater instant speed. So those are probably the 2 best removal spells in the format. There's some very good. Well, there's some Red Burn, which is very effective, which we'll talk about later. But if you need to deal with a bomb, white's the way you want to do it.
Pillar of Light's a little conditional. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
But if it's big enough that you care about it, it's likely to have more than 4 toughness.
Exactly. It might be something small that has an annoying utility effect.
Not in core set. We haven't really seen that.
Yeah, often.
We have looked through the spoiler.
Yeah, we did a little bit of research. We're not just randomly talking.
We're mostly randomly talking.
So, yeah, white has sort of a token something.
A sort of white, even right here. Just Oresco Swiftclaw.
Oresco Swiftclaw. There are some interesting... what's the card I wanted to talk about? I've entirely forgotten the name of it.
What did it do?
5 mana instant.
Oh, the Sanctified Charge.
Yeah, Sanctified Charge. That's where you want to be if you're in a token type strategy. Or a white weenies type strategy, which is often viable.
It gives all your stuff +2/+1, and if it's white, first strike.
Yep.
+5 is a common, which means you can get multiples of it.
Pretty easily in triple M15.
Well, I mean, pretty easily. It depends on how good the card is.
Yeah, but if you have any number of Triplicate Spirits and any number of Sanctified Charge, you're a force to be reckoned with.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. There's the other card you want to talk about, which is the Angel, which you don't like very much. Seraph of...
Oh, yeah. Seraph of the Masses.
I think I might have been right next to it there.
You were. It's right there.
There it is, yeah.
Seraph of the Masses, okay? So this card looks cool. I don't know why I don't like it. So it's 7 mana Convoke for a flying star where star is the number of creatures you control.
I think it's fine.
It looks very powerful. And
yeah,
if you power it out on turn 4 as a 4/4,
that's pretty good.
That's good. Okay,
it's still not busted.
It's and that's an optimum start. That's 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop Seraph.
You would expect to cast a 4/4 flyer on turn 5.
Yeah.
And this is only one turn early.
And if you do cast it on turn 5 with 2 creatures on the table, it's a 3/3.
However, if you stall out, you can cast this on turn 10 as an 8/8 flyer.
Yeah. So it's good in board stalls. It looks very powerful. I don't know why I don't like it.
I think it's fine.
I don't know why I don't like it. I just have a bad feeling.
Like the scenario that you mentioned, turn 4, 4/4 flyer.
Scary.
Great. Unlikely, because you have to go 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop.
Yeah.
Turn 5, 4/4 flyer. Seraph Angel. No vigilance.
And easier to disrupt, I guess.
And it grows.
It can grow. It can also shrink.
That's true.
Now,
it can shrink.
I never liked Crusader of Odric.
Okay.
Because
I thought it was fine.
I like cards that stand alone. Mm-hmm. And Serve the Masses. If you're in an attrition war, say they're killing your guys, you can play a 7-mana 1/1.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are situations where it's very good. And those situations are when you have a lot of creatures on the table,
it's a board stall.
Anything is good.
It's a board stall.
Yeah, any card is good. Situations where you're behind, Seraph is miserable.
It's a 1 or 2/2 or whatever. Yeah,
miserable.
Yep.
So that's probably why I don't like it. I think there's a lot more situations where it's bad, where another card would have been fine. Whereas the situations when it's good, another card would have been fine.
I think the only situation it's bad in is if you're behind. It's okay in like normal play because it'll be a 3/3 or a 4/4 or whatever.
Maybe.
Probably.
Because, like, I guess. I don't know.
If you've won
I think there were... so compare this to, say, anything. Aeromanth. No, Aeromanth is really good. Compare it to a Windrake.
Okay.
A Windrake is fine when you're established. On turn 3, you play a 2/2.
It's basically always fine.
Yeah. Whereas Seraph of the Masses is fine-ish
when you're establishing.
Pretty good in a board stall, I'll give it that.
Excellent if you're ahead, but that doesn't really matter.
Any card is excellent if you're ahead. Mm-hmm. And then when you're behind, it's just unplayable.
That's fine.
Often literally unable to cast it.
Well, you can cast it as a 1/1.
For 7 mana?
It's
hard to do.
It's not... Yeah, you're right. I'm not saying it's great, but I think it's fine.
I'm going to be avoiding this card until I see a compelling reason to play it.
It feels a little bit Win-More-y.
Yeah.
Is there anything... What was the other...
Was there anything in white you wanted to talk about?
Most of my talk about cards are blue, to be honest.
Oh, there is one here I have, and it's Hushwing Gryff. Hushwing Gryff is, it's a fine card in limited. 3-mana 2/1 flying flash is fine.
No!
What happened?
My browser froze. It's okay.
This is awful.
We've recovered.
It's fine. Technical difficulties. Hushwing Gryff is the other card I want to talk about. What are you doing?
I'm trying to unfreeze Google Chrome. There we go.
I can read Hushwing Gryff to you.
No, we got it.
Hushwing Gryff is a 3-mana 2/1 flash flying, and it says creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. Right?
It doesn't seem great in limited. I don't know what you're talking about.
It is pretty good in limited.
Actually, yeah, fine. 3-mana 2/1 flyer is pretty good.
Yeah.
With flash.
And you just kind of avoid playing non-bows with it.
Like the sliver that...
Like anything that ETB.
Yeah.
So it's pretty strong in limited. The interesting thing about it is in modern, it does a lot of good work. It hoses Splinter Twin. It does a lot of good things against Pod, and it's also like it's reminiscent of Aven Mind Sensor, which is same stats all round, except it says players can't search libraries.
Yep. This is top 4 instead, right?
Yeah. So yeah, Hushwing Gryff I think is going to see play at least in modern sideboards, and where it gets interesting is if it's good enough to mainboard, you can start building around it. Playing things like Eater of Days, which is a 4-mana 9/5 flying trample that skips your next 2 turns when it ETBs.
We should say something. We're not really going to talk about rares and mythics.
Oh, we tend to avoid talking about rares and mythics in these because... we tend.
It's the first one, but yeah.
No, I'm inclined to avoid talking about rares and mythics.
Unless like this, it has some sort of constructed implication, which I don't care about, but and lots of other people do.
Yeah, and we're not going to talk about them because you just don't see them all that often. And obviously a lot of them are good.
Like, Ajani's good.
Ajani's very good. Avacyn's pretty good. But they just don't come up all that often. Whereas commons and uncommons are what you build your deck out.
The bread and butter.
Ajani's Pride Bait, while we're there, is kind of cool.
I really like it. I think
there's a lot of incidental life gain going around.
Yeah, I think it's probably best.
More in black.
More in black
than in white. But a bear is good, and if you have any way to trigger it, it's pretty cool.
Okay.
What do you think? Do you think white is an aggressive color?
I don't really know.
It looks aggressive.
But I don't...
Like, if you just look at some of the cards that are in it, you've got a lot of bears, you've got Oresco Swiftclaw.
The Raise the Alarm.
You've got Raise the Alarm. I feel, though, like white is going to be better in sort of a defensive role. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to be making a lot of tokens, and you're going to be using them to either ramp out green Convoke spells, or use them in sort of an attrition strategy with black.
Okay, I can see both of those. That being said, if you get the deck with the charges, the 5-mana thing...
Yeah, it can be crazy fast. So I think white's going to be interesting. The removal makes me lean towards using it in an attrition kind of strategy.
Because you can grind them out over time if you're devouring loud enough things, yeah.
Yeah, but we'll have to see. We'll just have to see.
There's the sort of aura sub-theme as well, which doesn't seem good.
Auras, yeah. People. Something else I wanted to talk about. White has a card called... I forgot what it's called again. But it's a 2-mana instant with Convoke, and it gives your guy indestructible. Target creature gets indestructible to end the turn. Right? Cards like that, auras, would have been very good in Theros.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have to be careful when you're looking at M15 because there's no heroic.
Mm-hmm.
Divine Favor would have been quite good in Theros. Ephemeral Shields is the card I was talking about. So you just want to watch out for...
You want to switch... It's a different lens.
There's a mentality where combat tricks are high picks in Theros. They're just okay in this format.
What do you think of First Response?
I want to talk about that card later.
With the black one?
With... the black-white archetype. But I love it. I think it's really cool. I think
I don't like it.
I think if you can build around it, it's going to be really sweet.
I don't like it. Unless you can have a way to make yourself lose life with black.
And there are ways in black.
Do you want to talk about the cycles here?
No, let's
move on to blue, and we'll talk about them afterwards.
Let's move on to blue. Yeah, we're going to come to cycles in a minute.
Okay.
In blue, what does blue do in M15?
What it does in most core sets, I think, which is Flyers and Tempo.
Flyers and Tempo.
There are 3 banned spells.
Which are?
Oh, God. Into the Void.
We have a screen. You're looking at me and you're counting on your fingers. Now, those are good videos.
Into the Void. 3 and blue, uncommon. Bans 2 things.
At sorcery speed, which is often very relevant.
Void Snare, also sorcery speed. Single blue. And then Peel from Reality
is the only instant speed one, which is what we're used to with unsummon effects.
Which is 1 to blue, 1 each.
Yeah.
You can get advantage out of that. You can use it to save your card from removal and happen to bounce their guy.
You can use it for ET. You can save you can like win a combat by bouncing a double blocker and also reuse an ETB effect.
Yep, totally fine.
Plenty of ways to do it.
But the idea is 2 of these are common. Void Snare and Peel from Reality are both common. There's no shortage of bounce things, which makes the auras bad.
Yeah. There's just a ton of ways to lose a lot of value.
Red has a lot of burn, which we'll come to as well.
White has good removal. Black has pretty decent removal.
A card that I want to talk about, and it's right here, is Quickling.
You like Quickling?
I like Quickling.
Okay.
It's a 2-mana 2/2 flyer.
Okay.
And you have to bounce a thing when it comes into play. A thing you control.
Now,
back to your
interesting point, it says permanent. You don't have to lose a creature.
You can do it to a land.
Exactly.
You can set yourself back a turn to play it. And a 2-mana 2/2 flyer is great. 2-mana 2/2 flyer with flash means you can block, flash it in, bounce the block guy back.
That's really nice.
Prevent the damage.
Yeah, that's really
Get your thing. Playing it on turn 2 is awkward.
Because you have to bounce your own land.
You have to bounce your land. Or it... Can you... Only have to sacrifice it.
Yeah. Sacrifice it unless you return another creature.
Yeah. It is a creature. It's not
permanent. It is a creature.
That's what I thought.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, that's worse.
Okay, that makes it worse.
I mean, you can't play it on turn 2 unless you've played a 1-drop. But you can still do the thing I said where you can block and flash and bring it back.
That's probably its main application.
I think it's okay.
I think it's going to be totally fine. I don't know...
You kind of want to hold it. You're going to want to use it as a defensive unsummon. You know the defensive unsummon where you save your guy from removal or from like our combat trick?
Yeah.
That's a 1-for-1.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you can get a 2-for-1, I guess, out of it.
Did you get this?
You land a 2/2 flyer. The other option is, as we talked about before, with Peel from Reality, you can reuse an ETB effect. I'm racking my brains for a good one in M15, and I can't think of one, which is kind of sketchy to me.
Yeah.
The ones I'm thinking of are Reclamation Sage, if you want to kill another enchantment or artifact, which I don't think is going to come up that much.
Yeah. You can tap another thing with the 6-drop flyers.
The 6-drop flyer, but then you have to spend 6 mana to
recast them.
Recast it,
Yeah.
There's not a lot of great options for it, so I think its best application is going to be the way you talked about it, which is saving guys from removal or combat.
Tricks. While we're here again, because we're talking about removal, Turn to Frog is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Turn to Frog, makes a storm tide Leviathan get eaten by a bear.
Yep. It's ways to kill things that there aren't other ways to kill.
Anything.
It has no abilities as well. They keyworded indestructible.
Yeah.
I believe that means Turn to Frog works against indestructible.
I think
there's weird situations where it doesn't. Like, I don't think you can do it to a soul. Like, say they activate Soul of Euphorexia, Turn to Frog doesn't lose the indestructible then.
Because it's on top of the permanent. It's not part of the permanent.
It's an effect that's in the game.
It's a shield effect, isn't it?
Yeah. So...
Oh, no, it's not a shield effect. Anyway...
There's going to be some rules called for Turn to Frog.
Yes. Similarly for the one that makes everything frogs.
Polymorphous Jest, which is awesome, by the way. There's a wombo combo in the set, which is I believe it's called Circle of Flame or Pyromancer Circle or something like that. It's an enchantment, a red enchantment that...
Circle of Flame?
Circle of Flame.
Oh, yeah.
It's a red enchantment that deals 1 damage to something whenever it attacks. And
so
both
the trigger on the stack.
Both Turn to Frog and Polymorphous Jest
are instants,
and so they swing with the team. You Polymorphous Jest, you board wipe them. Very, very cool.
If that thing had flying before, it won't
die. Yes, that's true.
Because this trigger will go on the stack. Will it check on resolution?
No, because
it's for each creature.
It's a creature without flying.
Yep.
So no, if you do it, it'll kill other ground guys.
Yeah.
What else have we got?
What else do I want to talk about in blue? I wanted to talk about Amphinn Pathmage.
Amphinn Pathmage? What's that, Dennis?
It is 3 and a blue for a 3/2 Salamander Wizard.
Which you don't get many of.
No.
Let's be honest here.
And he's an activated ability.
Are Amphinns a tribe? Can we do Amphinn Tribal? I don't think so.
He has 2 and a blue. Target creature can't be blocked this turn.
Is it 2 and a blue? My goodness.
Which is...
Thassa.
Yes. Thassa, but it's a 4 mana 3/2, which is fine.
Often better than Thassa?
Scry when it turns pretty good.
Yeah, but it has power and toughness.
Yeah. Great card.
It's a common. Do we think that's going to push blue-green into a strong color pair?
I don't think you need to be in green.
You don't?
I don't think that...
It's probably best in green.
Yeah, because
you agree?
You can create a clock. You can give a 5/5 unblockable, and that's a 4-turn clock.
Yeah.
But the other thing you can do is for stalling out, which blue is going to be good for, because it's got lots of tempo to slow them down. It's got walls.
Yeah. Wall of Frost is one of my favourite cards.
You won't stall so much as you will...
Slow the game.
Slow game. And it's...
you won't slow the game down. You'll slow them down.
Exactly.
That's what you do, yeah.
And you slow them down, you've hit them to where they're at, 8, 9.
And then
you can kill them in 2 turns with this.
Yeah.
Because you can activate it twice for 6 mana. This and something that has 4 power, bam, 14 damage.
Fantastic, yeah.
I think it's great. I think maybe it's not first pickable.
It's up there, though.
But I think it's second or third pickable, totally.
A card I want to talk about, which I think is first pickable, which you and I had an argument about, but I want to have my 2 seconds on it.
Okay.
Which is Illusory Angel.
There it is.
Awesome card.
If I cover up this, super good.
Well, it's unbelievable if you cover up that. Now, you can only cast it if you've cast another spell that turn.
Yes.
Which means, realistically, you're probably playing it on turn 5.
Which means, unless you had a different one, you had to not play your 2-drop on turn 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah. Now, there's other ways to get advantage out of it, right?
Yep.
Say you played your 2-drop, you need to peel from reality?
That
you get it back?
7.
No. You peel from reality some other... like, say turn 3, you have to peel from reality.
Oh, and you've gotten it back.
Now you've got it back in hand.
Right.
The other one that I'm very excited about is Generator Servant. With this card. Generator Servant is probably my favourite card in the set, which I'm going to talk about a lot later. But Generator Servant makes it a lot more easy to play that and something else, and then it gives haste as well.
Yep.
Awesome card.
I'm not saying it's not a powerful card. It's definitely a powerful card.
And also, any turn of the game a 4/4 flyer comes down is super relevant. The 3-drop doesn't mean it comes down early. No. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. It means in your blue tempo deck, you are able to play it and something else
and avoid
in a later turn.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's coming down early that you want to think about here. I think it's having more utility when you are able to play multiple things.
You made a very good point, which is great with something like Divination.
On turn 6 you Divination,
play it.
You play it.
But it is a terrible top deck. Because you have to wait for another spell.
Agreed. Yeah, no, it is a terrible top deck. Which is often not going to be a huge issue in blue. You've got some good card draw engines in blue.
Not really.
Not engines, but Divination and Jace's Ingenuity.
Which is a great card, which is right here.
We should mention that. Jace's Ingenuity, yeah. Blue has some very good card draw. There's also...
remember how good Opportunity was? This is almost as good.
Almost as good as Opportunity. There's also the enchantment for 1 in a blue. I've forgotten its name. but is a 1 and a blue enchantment whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures. Draw a card.
It's mission intelligence or something like that. Mission something.
Yeah.
Military
intelligence. Very good card. I think it's going to be very good.
If you can get things like Welcome Turns.
Welcome Turn is in the set,
which people are likely familiar with. There it is.
It's Vaporkin. If you started playing,
it's actually Vaporkin.
Yeah. So I think blue. Yeah, blue is where it always is. It's a tempo deck. Counter spells wise, which often comes up.
It has negate.
We have negate. We have dissipate.
Yep.
And we have the weird one.
I don't know
the format. Where's it called? It's 4-drop counter target spell. If you control a blue creature.
Yep.
Loot.
Yep.
Statute of Denial. There it is.
It's an Azorius card.
If you control a blue creature, draw a card, then discard a card. So 4-mana hard counter.
Fine.
Sometimes you have to do it in limited.
Yeah, that's fine.
Dissipate is much better.
Yep, because it's 1 less.
Yeah, it costs 1 less. Now, I think Cancel was playable in M14.
Not great.
The format was slow enough that if you saw, say, a Storm-Tide Leviathan, something you couldn't answer with regular cards, you brought in your counters.
But for the most part, in Limited, especially in Core Set Limited, people aren't really doing power. It's not Cube.
No, in Cube counters are really good because
people are doing great things.
Doing crazy things, yeah.
In here, you'll be able to handle their 3-2.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, so counter spells, while excellent and constructed, are less good in Limited.
While we're here, and we've already mentioned it for tempo and everything, I don't think Void Snare is very good.
Sorcery speed, bounce a guy. The only time you're getting card parity out of it is when you're killing an aura with it.
Yeah.
Instant speed stuff is very, very good.
In terms of other blue sort of removal, and you don't like this card, Encrust.
I don't like Encrust because it doesn't tap the creature. I loved card Narcolepsy.
I don't think Narcolepsy taps it. Oh no, it does, doesn't it?
Is it Narcolepsy? The one that was in M14.
Oh,
I've forgotten entirely what it's called, but it tapped the Claustrophobia.
There we go.
Claustrophobia.
Claustrophobia is this, but it also taps the creature.
Yeah.
This can target artifact.
Yeah, cute, I guess. Yeah, you keep their chain veil tapped down.
Yeah, nailed it.
Blowout. Frostlinks is another very good tempo card. On par almost with Mana War.
It's in the same ballpark. I don't think it's on par.
Like, it has the advantage over Mana War of they can't play it the following turn and block.
I'll take them playing it, blocking it.
Yeah, but it is worse, but it does a similar job. It's a 3-mana 2/2 and that provides tempo.
Because we're not on Gather, we have to have the other cards here at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's leading to a lot of while we're here. But while we're here, this is terrible.
Fugitive Wizard. So people who've been playing Magic for a while, playing Limited for a while, looking at that, you can see that's a bad card. A new player looks at that, they say, 1 power for one power and 1 toughness for 1 mana, that's a good deal, right? That I play 2 mana for a 2 power and 2 toughness, that seems exactly fine, right? The issue, random new player who I'm talking to, is that you are also spending a card.
Yes.
And that's a very important concept. So the 1 mana 1/1 will not often get you a card's worth of value, whereas a 2 mana 2/2 will.
The classic example of card value is in fact in this set, and it is Ornithopter.
Which is something I wanted to talk about later. Ornithopter, how could you not like Ornithopter? It's free, right? Not really free.
It costs 0.
Spend a card out of your hand.
You drew Ornithopter instead of a different thing, and it simply doesn't do enough to warrant casting.
Yeah, it's not something I'm going to be running unless I have a very strong artifact theme that I'm very excited about. Or I've got 10 illusory angels.
I'm an idiot. I went to go back to Fugitive Wizard and I typed in Wizard. We're on the Wizard's website. There we go. We'll see about Illusory Angel. That's the big if for me. I definitely don't think it's bad.
I think it's going to be very strong.
I don't think it's
I'm going to be first picking Illusory Angels.
I don't think that's correct. But we'll see.
We'll see.
Will we move on to Black?
Black is next, yeah. Black is very good in this set.
I like Black a lot.
Black has evasive creatures.
It's a Blade Tusk War for
It has value creatures, and it has removal.
Cursed Spirit's fantastic.
Yeah, it's Blade Tusk War. If you've played Journey into Nyx Limited, you know how good Blade Tusk War is.
Or many other formats.
Yeah, and a Cursed Spirit is that in Black, which you don't typically get in Black.
You don't typically get Windrakes in Black.
Yeah, entering the battlefield tapped is almost always relevant for Windrake, because you never play it and then block
it, no. Like, these are 2 cards that you don't really get in Black that were some of the better cards in other colours.
Yeah.
Whenever colours mop up their own deficiencies like this, it's insane.
Yeah, so Carrion Crow and Accursed Spirit are excellent cards.
Intimidate does happen in black. We shouldn't be that.
Like, no, but
fear,
not on that aggressive a body, I don't
No,
think.
a 3/2.
You don't see that often. So those are two ways to provide clocks in black. There's also a vampire, whose name I've forgotten. I should really have learned more of these names. He's a black card. He's 5 mana 4/3. And you can pay 2 life to give him flying.
Yes, I remember him. He's in the middle somewhere, I think.
Is that him?
There he is.
Shadowcloak Vampire.
5 mana 4/3. You can pay 2 life to give him flying. That's kind of... Because there's a lot of life loss in black.
Yeah.
For example, Sign in Blood.
Sign in Blood, the Black Bolt.
You can kill people with Sign in Blood.
That's cute. Yeah, you can.
I've done that.
Yeah. Last 2 damage, sometimes you need to.
And the Black Bolt you're talking about is Ulcerate, which is very powerful.
Unreal card.
3 life is a hefty chunk.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that doesn't make the card worth it. The card's very powerful. It's totally first pickable.
Yeah.
3 life is a hefty chunk.
We were talking about this before. An archetype that I'm very excited about, and one that I try to build in most formats, is black-white grind you out.
Because your life gain cancels out your life loss,
and
over
also
time you'll grind
you've got the
dust.
best removal in most formats.
The black removal here
is quite strong.
Is Stab Wound,
Ulcerate,
and Flesh to Dust, I think it's called?
I can't remember.
Flesh to Dust, there it is.
Flesh to Dust, 5 mana instant destroy a creature.
Can't be regenerated.
It's sometimes regenerated.
Super good.
Stab Wound is an interesting one when we were talking about this archetype, because it provides a clock, often.
Stab Wound is so good that it used to be common in Return to Ravnica, and now it's uncommon.
Yeah, it wins games on its own.
It is a fantastic
I remember we did a draft at my house once. It was a triple RTR draft, and you wrecked me with a Stab Wound that I just couldn't answer. Yes. You just stalled out the board, put a Stab Wound on my 3/3, and I couldn't do anything. I was
what colour? I think I was Golgari.
Yeah.
And I just had big green things, and I was like, I don't have to attack you.
Yeah.
I'll sit here all day, and I did, and I won.
Yeah, it was crazy. Stab Wound is excellent.
The removal, funnily enough, in white seems to be better than it is in black.
Yeah, I mean, both of the white spells we talked about are uncommon.
Yeah.
Black has a common kill spell.
So black-white, basically, you'll be able to handle most threats.
And then you just sit back, and you use your Accursed Spirit, and you use your
Windrake guy.
And you just pick them off.
Use your Vampire, use your White Flyers,
also,
if you have any.
This is the one I was talking about. What's the card? First Response, the white card.
Yes.
Combo super well with black, because black pays life a lot, and getting advantage out of that. Often a 1/1 says gain 3 life.
There's also Feast on the Fallen, which is the black equivalent, which is where if your opponent lost life.
Yeah. Not as good.
Again, a thing, getting plus 1 black counters is not black. It is in Vampires.
It is in Vampires, and this is kind of
Cannibals.
How that works. Yeah.
Or kind of.
Black sometimes gets plus 1 plus 1
if you pay life to make your Vampire flying and hit them, you will get a 2/2 soldier, if you like, or you'll get a 5/4 Vampire.
Yeah, you make your Vampire bigger every turn. Interesting, seems a little Win-More-y. Whereas First Response can be sort of stabilizing.
I don't really like First Response, I'm going to be honest.
I'm interested to see how it plays in this archetype. I think if you're just playing a white deck with normal spells, I don't think it's going to be good enough.
I don't think it's going to be good enough anyway, because I think it's too slow and you don't get enough value out of it.
I think the way it's going to work in black is you use it to mitigate the life loss from your spells. So if you're playing against an aggressive deck...
Doesn't it cost 4?
It does cost 4. So, okay, you play your Ulcerate. You've lost 3 life, but that 1/1's going to chump block a 3/3.
You can get you back to 3 life, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I still don't think it's worth it.
Okay. Another honorable mention in black goes to Necrobite.
Returning.
Excellent card.
I love it.
It lets your 1/1 soldier kill their 6/6.
I find it very good. It's fantastic if your opponent stack blocks.
Yeah, you attack with your big threat, they're like, I need to kill that.
It saves it from removal. It is a little bit expensive, but because of that versatility where you can use it to eat a guy up, you can make your 1/1 eat their 10/10, totally fine. You can use it to great advantage if they stack block, and you can save your guy from removal. That versatility makes it worth the 2 and a black price, and it's common.
Black has some very aggressively costed creatures as well.
It is, however, a middle of the pack, second half of the pack kind of card, Necrobite.
Oh, you take it late.
Not early.
You don't need to take it early because people don't like it.
Aggressively costed creature, are you looking at Necrogen Scudder?
I'm looking at Necrogen Scudder, and I'm looking at Necromancer's Assistant, and I'm looking at the Windrake, and I'm looking at the Accursed Spirit. Black has some very aggressively costed creatures.
Which makes you want to pair it with red.
There's another way, there's definitely a way to play black where you pair it Black-red's always been a thing, black-red aggro. Because you get removal, you get aggressively costed creatures, and you just deal with their guys and forget about the life loss that you're incurring.
We will be getting to red soon. Red isn't as aggressive creature-wise as it usually is, but it has fantastic burn.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second.
Necrogen Scudder, again, 3 life loss.
But 3 mana, 3/3 flying.
I understand.
And there's black has always had a suicide theme.
Totally.
You go, my stuff is really good, but it's going to kill me eventually.
The black does feel very flavorful here. You're feasting on corpses. You know, you're getting cursed spirits. You're paying your vampires sucking blood from you to let them make it be strong enough to fly. It's great.
Yeah, black is always very good.
I don't want to me saying 3 life is hefty. I understand that. Don't confuse that for me thinking this is bad. I will first pick an Necrogen Scudder any day of the week.
Yeah, that's excellent.
It's just raw efficiency.
Because if you play that on turn 3, you lose 3 life. Now you're on 17, right?
Yeah.
And now you've got a 3/3 flyer on turn 3. That's so difficult to deal with.
You would expect that on turn 4.5.
Yeah, the only thing better than that, the only start I can think of better than that is Ornithopter Illusory Angel. Anyway.
Is there anything else in black you want to talk about?
Did I have any notes here?
I want to talk about Stab Wound. We did.
That's all I have in black. But yeah, black seems very, very strong.
We will get to the Paragons.
Oh yeah, we'll get to the Curd Apes. Yeah,
the Curd Apes. You talked about the Shadow Cloak. We talked about this.
Yeah,
those are rares. That's a rare.
Waste Not. Oh, by the way, very cool card.
I like it. That's the one we designed. You and I personally.
Yeah, Denis and I spent a lot of time on Waste Not. Sapphire Skyblade is also very cool.
You keep calling it Skyblade, or you keep sounding like
I do keep calling it Skyblade. It's Slyblade.
It's a normal creature, except it has an activated ability. Like black seems to have a lot of these mode switching guys.
Yes, and the Slyblade
is unbelievable.
Yeah, so if you're afraid of their removal, you just don't activate it, and then when you need to activate it, it kills anything.
Like, you block their big thing with it, and then you activate it, and if they kill your guy, sure they kill your guy, but you blocked it. Now, it does cost 4, which makes this a late game stall play, which goes with your white grindy.
Yeah, I think that's a great card in the white grindy deck, because it just eats anything.
Shade I don't like, but it is a grindy card. It will cost you 6 to make it a 6/6.
Yeah, I didn't like it when I first saw it. I'm starting to, because what I'm thinking about is Rootwalla.
Sure.
Rootwalla was a 3-mana 2/2. It had 2 and a green, pump +2/+2.
1 and a green +2/+2.
1 and a green +2/+2. Very good card. And you could only activate that ability once per turn. This is comparable.
4 mana 2/2 is a lot worse than 3 mana 2/2.
Agree. I think Zaf Shade, depending on the speed of the format, we might see. I think if the format slows,
you might be able to grow big enough to just bash. Absolutely. Red.
Act on Impulse.
I hate it.
Act on Impulse.
It's cool.
Yeah. The problem is, like, you compare it to something like Divination, you've just spent 3 mana to do it.
Yeah, you don't get to keep the cards unless you can do them right now.
Exactly. So often you're only going to be able to cast 1 of your 3
on turn 6.
Yeah, and that's so. I just don't think it's probably good enough.
Turn 6. Look at the top of the cards of your library. Cast 1.
Maybe
you shouldn't play lands before you cast it, obviously,
because you can play lands off it. Yeah. Okay. Red in general
is amazing.
It's got unbelievable burn. Like, it's got the best suite of burn removal that we've seen in recent memory in Red.
Blast Firebolt is not one of those.
It's not tier 1. It's definitely playable though.
Yeah, fine. Yeah,
it's an instant, and it is there relevant equipment? Maybe not. Doesn't matter.
Haunted Plate Mail. That's a rare.
Yeah, like if you get that, that's upside.
That won't kill the thing.
Huh?
Oh, hang on. It will. You'll deal 5 damage to it, then the equipment will fall off, so the thing will get -4/-4.
Yeah, so you can kill things that they've loaded up with removal. It's totally a fine card.
The other one is Heat Ray.
Heat Ray.
Only its creatures, doesn't matter, super good.
Sweet card.
Inferno Fist has kind of burn stuck onto it.
Yeah, the other one is Stoke the Flames, I believe it's called.
Yep, there it is.
One of my favourite red cards I've seen recently.
You can cast it for 0 mana.
Yeah, they think, I'm safe, I'll put my aura on this creature and I'll attack. Oh no.
People forget this about Convoke, which is that you can tap red creatures to produce the red mana.
I forget this about Convoke. I didn't play with Convoke originally. Yeah. Speaking of Convoke, while we're here, what do you think of Convoke as a returning mechanic? Do you like it?
I think it's great. It's reasonably vanilla.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any story or themes attached to it. It makes spells you should cast. It lets you do big splashy things for cheaper, and it makes new players feel smart because they go, "Oh, I tapped on my things. I did this cool thing, and I killed your guy." But really, it's just you use the second half of the card.
No, it's totally like the problem. One of the problems I have with M14 is they've done a thing in Core Set where they have one returning mechanic, and in M14 it was slivers. And
not really a mechanic.
Yeah, not a mechanic. Like, if you build a sliver deck, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. It usually didn't.
Especially in Limited, yeah.
So, having Convoke where, you get a little bit of the return mechanic that can go in any colour, really. Mm-hmm. There are decent Convoke spells in pretty much every colour.
Mm-hmm.
Is really nice. I really like it.
Is that the only red burn spells?
Lightning Strike has been rebuilt.
Oh, there's actual Lightning Strike.
Lightning Strike. Which should be Searing Spear, but it's Lightning Strike.
Yeah, I agree.
Although, if it was Searing Spear, I guess we'd have 8 copies of Searing Spear in Standard. You know what I mean? Like, you could build a red deck with 8.
Yeah, that's too many. That's too many, you're right.
But yeah, it's totally fantastic card.
So, red doesn't have the super aggressive creatures that we can... Because Krenko's Enforcer.
We've seen Krenko's Enforcer. There's a 2-mana card that gets +2/+0 when attacking.
Which is...
Up the top there.
There it is.
Yep.
Which is effectively a 2-mana 3/2, which is quite aggressive and very good.
Yeah. There's a 3-mana 3/2, which is pretty good in red.
Yeah, it's fine.
There's no... we don't have Blade Dustboar, which is sad.
No.
Cone of Flame. We missed Cone of Flame.
We did miss Cone of Flame.
Cone of Flame is very good.
What's often going to happen is you're going to kill something with 2, kill something with 3, and ping them.
And that's totally fine for your 5 mana.
It's a sorcery, which is not as good.
No.
Okay. But it's a very powerful card. I'm not going to deny
Heat Ray, I think we skipped over Heat Ray a little bit. Heat Ray was in Rise of the Eldrazi originally?
I don't know, maybe.
I think it was in Rise of the Eldrazi, and it was one of the best cards in that
It's
format.
very good.
And now it's back. And it's unbelievable. It's just so good.
It's very good.
Like,
it's fantastic removal.
It's exactly the removal you want at every stage of the game.
Yep. On
like,
turn
what's
3,
power for a turn 2? It's a 2/2.
Yeah.
You get to kill that with 3 mana.
Yeah.
And what's power for turn 5? I guess a
4/4. You can just kill that.
You can kill that.
Yep.
It's just excellent. It scales with the game.
That's
very why
good.
It's so strong.
It does not hit players.
No, and that's something people forget about it, and that's one of the reasons...
It's not as good as, like, Karavek's Torch.
Well, it is. Karavek's Torch is a sorcery.
I guess.
And burn spells being instant is so important.
That's fair.
So important.
Regardless, Cone of Flame is very good. You can't deal all 6 of this damage to one thing.
No, it's when it says it has 1 damage to target creature, 2 damage to another, and 3 damage to a third. It's very specifically worded so that you can't kill the 6 toughness thing with it.
Or them.
Or kill them. Yeah.
Lava Axe is in the set.
Which, okay, do we want to talk about Lava Axe? Lava Axe is usually a mistake.
I don't typically like it, no.
Lava Axe looks good because 5 damage, but unless it's the last 5 damage, you're just down a card and you haven't affected the board.
Yep, that's fine. However, if you're in red and you're hyper aggressive, or if you're in red black and you can clear their stuff out of the way, it's very reasonable that you will get them down to 5, at which point, as a 23rd card, Lava Axe is respectable.
But when Stoke the Flames is in the format, it doesn't stack up well.
No, you're right, that's 4, and you can cast it's cheaper, and you can cast it sooner.
I think Lava Axe is often considered a new player trap, and with good reason.
In case you for some reason don't know what Lava Axe is, it's there.
Yeah.
So, a ton of...
On the other hand, Lava Axe does have one of my favourite flavour texts.
A strict upgrade over the Cinder Hatchet.
Yeah.
I prefer the other flavour text.
It just says catch.
It just says catch, yeah.
Yeah. Might makes right.
I think it's cool. It's a terrible card.
Terrible card. Why is it bad, Dennis? A repeatable threaten effect? Surely that's excellent.
Because, Oisin, it costs 6. And if you already have the biggest thing on the board, you're probably going to win anyway.
Mm-hmm. We call this kind of card a win more card.
A win more card.
Windmill Slam. No,
it's God knows not Windmill Slam.
We call this a win more card.
No, it's not useless. It has an effect, and it's a pertinent one.
But the problem is, that effect is only really applicable when you're in a position that would make you win the game anyway.
Sure, there are situations where you have maybe had a great big thing, and then they encrusted it, and it's on the battlefield, but it's not affecting it. In which case, this would be good.
But that's so specific.
Shut up.
Yeah. Like other examples of win more cards. Lava Axe. Often.
No, I don't think that's quite so good. Quite so appropriate.
Quite so appropriate.
I don't think anyone will laugh at you for playing Lava Axe. People might laugh at you for playing Might Makes Right. It could be Might Makes Right is exactly the kind of card where I feel like I could miss, and this could actually be amazing. But I really don't think it is.
I don't think it's going to be playable.
No. We have a Rummager.
Yeah, strictly worse than a Looter.
A fair bit worse than Looter.
Because you have to discard the card blindly and then hope you draw something good. So you can end up discarding gas, hoping to draw more gas, and you get a land. The nice bit about the Looters was if you drew land off the Looter, you could just dump the land.
We didn't really talk about this card before because we were talking about aggressive red creatures. Miner's Bane.
Yeah.
6 mana, 6/3.
Not... Vanilla Test, a little bit of a fail.
2 in red, give it a +1/+0, and trample.
Yeah, so The problem
you need to save it.
The problem I have with high power, low toughness creatures in aggressive decks is it makes it very easy for them to trade up and win the mana war, if you will. By the mana war, I mean, like, if they're spending less mana to
they'll
kill
trade
something,
their 3-drop for your 6-drop,
and you've lost tempo
because they still got their 6-drop, which is likely better than your 3-drop.
Exactly. So you're losing tempo on that. You're not using your mana efficiently. I actually like something like a Resco Swiftclaw, which is a 2-mana 3/1. Cheap, high power, low toughness creatures. I like that a lot in defensive decks because it lets you sculpt situations where you're doing the reverse. If I'm in my black-white attrition deck and I play my Resco Swiftclaw,
you can trade that for
and
a 5-drop.
I get to trade it for that 6/3.
Yeah.
I've gained a lot of advantage.
You will take at least 5 damage, or at least 6 damage, assuming they pump it.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's if you can attack with that thing and back it up with a trick, like there's the white trick that makes it indestructible.
The other one we've seen, which is very exciting with that card, is the single red Convoke for +1/+0 and first strike. We also had good coordinated assault was. Now that hit 2 creatures, and being able to use that defensively, where you can make your 2 bears 3/2 first strikes and kill their 6 power thing.
Crowd's favor.
But Convoke is very, very important. You attack with some big thing, you're tapped out, and they think, haha.
Tap a red creature, kill your guy. It's very good. It is a fantastic combat trick. We're going to get to some great combat tricks in green.
Yeah. Alright, so, but yeah, red seems like it's best paired with either black or green.
I'd say black.
Yeah,
black has evasive creatures and other removal, and
red-blue could be a thing as well. I think red needs support for threats. Red doesn't have good threats, and it doesn't seem like it's strong enough to go wide in this set, which is what red usually does.
So that's where the green would come in, sure.
So I think blue has the angel, illusory angel. Black has other evasive creatures. Green has big things, and red has generator servant.
You wanted to talk about generator
servant. This is my favorite card in the set.
Generator servant is 1 red for a 2/1 elemental creature, and you can tap it and sacrifice it to add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool. If that mana is spent to cast a creature, it gains haste until end of turn.
I think this card is unbelievably good.
I'm
going to be so happy playing it in Constructed, but we'll not talk about that. I'm going to be so happy playing it in Limited. Here's a scenario that just isn't unreasonable at all, right? How do you like this start? Turn 1 Mountain.
Okay.
Turn 2 Forest, Generator Servant. Turn 2 Forest, sack my Generator Servant, play my Charging Rhino. Attack.
Charging Rhino will be a 4/4 haste that cannot be door blocked, which means that it'll be quite a while before they can do anything about it.
And that's just like one example. You can play a 5-drop on turn 3, you can play a 6-drop on turn
and they're both common.
4. They're both common, yeah, that's totally reasonable. But Generator Servant just gets you so much advantage.
Will you first pick a Generator Servant?
I will totally first pick Generator Servant. I don't know if that's right, but I think aggressive decks are going to be very different in M15 to what we're used to.
I think it's quite comparable to Satyr Hedonist.
I disagree. For a couple of reasons.
Well, the haste is the big reason.
The other one is... yeah, no, that's it.
That's the only... Other than that, he's just worse than Satyr Hedonist.
You don't get coloured mana. Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah. You can also attack with the Satyr Hedonist first.
That's true, but you don't want to attack when you're giving your thing haste.
Yeah, I know.
You want to make... Yeah, I think Generator Servant is excellent. Having a 5/5 with haste on turn 3... Like having a 5-drop, I should say, with haste on turn 3.
Yeah, it's super good. If you're in black and they play something you have to kill right now, you can get to your Flesh to Dust with it.
You can. It doesn't... that's an important distinction. It doesn't have to be spent on a creature. It's just better if it is.
The mana requirements for the coloured portion of the spell are all up to you, though. If your 5-drop is double of a colour and that colour isn't red, you'll have to have 2 of those lands. To do on turn 3.
So maybe it's a little bit Magical Christmas Landy.
No, because worst case scenario, it's a 2-mana 2/1. Which is fine. That is,
and you can also use it to surprise win late in the game.
Absolutely.
Just give a thing haste that shouldn't have haste.
It is a very, very, very good card. I'm not going to deny you that.
It's my favourite in the set. Red-Green Ramp has been my home in Standard for quite a long time.
I'll tell you my favourite card in the set when we get to it. It'll be soon.
Okay.
Begins with T. Ends with Itanic Growth.
Okay. Speaking of...
Green? Do you have anything else you want to talk about in red?
Oh, I was going to say something... Red, like aggro decks in M15 feel very different to me to what they normally are, which is normally go wide with lots of little creatures. In M15 it seems like the best way to do aggro is power out a big threat.
Like Thundering Giant.
Thundering Giant.
You give it double haste with your Generator Servant.
combo. But like green is going to be very strong in M15. I have a feeling.
And here we go. Ancient Silverback, big dude, big bashy thing.
Speaking of things you can get with Generator Servant, you can play it on turn 4.
Yep, with haste.
You can, with haste, attack him for 6. They probably don't have any way to deal with it on that turn, and then in later turns you can keep it alive, and you just cast the Abyss.
Directly under it, 2 other quite big things
that are both very good to cast off Generator.
The Carnivorous Moss Beast, I think I like more than you do.
I'm skeptical of it, but you explain why you like it.
I like it for stalls.
Okay.
Because if you've stalled out, which if you have a big fatty things in green, you're unlikely to be losing the game unless it's to flyers or evasion or whatever. And if you've managed to pair them out, if you're in red with the Generator Servant or with the Elvish Mystics or something like that, you're likely to have a stable board.
Okay.
And given enough time, this says infinity on it. It gets big enough. It is a mana sink, and mana sinks are important. 6 mana for a 4/5 is not a great deal.
No, you expect to pay 5 for that.
It's not a great deal.
Like it's interesting because a 5 mana 4/5 is a very good deal. A 6 mana 4/5 is a very bad deal.
It's not a very bad deal,
but like I guess 4/5 should cost 5.5.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is hard.
I think it's fine. I'd much rather play a Charging Rana, and I'd probably much rather play the Ancient Silverback as well. Actually, definitely would rather play the Ancient Silverback. But I think it is a fine way to dump a ton of mana and let it grow and grow and grow and grow. And I don't think it's unreasonable to get it to like a 7-8.
No.
Over the course of a couple of turns. And if you're stalled out, you can just make it big enough where you can eventually swing in with it and go, look, I will be trading this for 4 of your guys.
Yep. Or I'll be killing you.
And if you have a Titanic Growth, all the better.
Speaking of Titanic Growth, Denis, this is Dennis's segment where he gets a hard on over green combat tricks.
Look, Giant Growth is overpowered.
Giant Growth should
be limited.
You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first, folks. Giant Growth should be banned in Modern.
In Limited, Giant Growth is too big.
Too big.
Single green for +3/+3 is too big. It means my 2/2 ate your Charging Rhino. Okay?
It's delicious.
Or it means I've attacked you with everything, and I get... So you say you have 2 of them. Not unreasonable. It's often a common. Oh, you take an additional 6 damage.
That's a ton.
Or you make your 1/1 eat their 6/6. It's so powerful, and Titanic Growth is only a little bit worse.
You think Titanic Growth is worse?
Maybe a little bit because it costs 2.
Okay. You're paying 1 extra mana, but not
for 1 extra power and toughness.
You're not paying double. You're paying double the mana, and you're not getting double the power and toughness.
No, I would play 1 green +6/+6. I'll take that.
Well, it would probably be green +6/6, wouldn't it?
I mean, now you're pushing it. No, Titanic Growth is fantastic.
Okay. So how high would you pick a Titanic Growth?
Second pick.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello.
Sorry, we had to pause there for a second.
Titanic Growth is fantastic. Saves your guy from removal, makes you go in combat, can kill them if you put out something that didn't block. That's an additional 4 damage out of nowhere, which is a ton. I would second pick it. I might even first pick it if the pack's a little bit unexciting.
Okay, and there's a parallel in green in this set.
Whose name I've forgotten.
Gathering Courage, I believe?
It's something like that. Gather Courage.
Gather Courage.
Single green +2/+2, or sometimes free +2/+2.
When you tap a green creature.
Not actually comparable to Giant Growth.
Yeah, and the fact that you can
surprise
them with a tap board. I think M15 is going to do an interesting thing where it's going to make you feel less safe about tapped out opponents.
Because they have their dude there. Yeah. Green removal, the only real one is the Hunt of the Week.
Hunt of the Week. Yeah.
And today's Hunt of the Week is now.
Okay, so green doesn't typically get removal. When it does, it's in the form of fight.
Which is this?
And fight is when you need to have bigger creatures than your opponents, which green usually lets you do.
And especially if you get to put a +1/+1 counter on it.
Hunt the Week is a very, very good card, and if you are in green, you have to take it very highly, because unless you're in another color that has a lot of removal, which you will be.
But you need this kind of effect.
Yeah, because green just doesn't get it. That's why green is very good when paired with red, because you get to couple it with burn spells.
If you get colors that cover up each other's deficiencies, you end up in a very strong position.
Green-red. Now, green-red is an interesting one in this set, because if they cover up their own weaknesses, green gets the big creatures the red doesn't have, red gets the removal that green doesn't have, and then they also synergize very well with, Generator Servant.
I mean, if you're going to power on anything, it's going to be green fatties, absolutely.
Yeah.
Elvish Mystic is, I think, first pickable.
Yeah, it's always been...
In any format.
It's always been a very, very strong effect.
Except Cube, I guess.
Yeah. I'd even pick it quite highly in Cube.
A card you're a big fan of, and I am too, is right here, which is Feral Incarnation.
Yeah, it's one of the best Convoke cards in the set. This is what that pick, getting an early Feral Incarnation, is what's going to push me into the green-white token Convoke strategy.
Yeah, if you get your spirits down on turn 5,
you raise the alarm down on turn 2.
You can just cast this, and this will give you 3/3/3s,
which is so big.
Like, if you're not abusing it, like Oisin's suggesting with tokens, you can reasonably expect to cast this on turn 6. Almost all of the time. Having 3 creatures on turn 6, if you've played conservatively because you have this in your hand and you're not trading your guys off willy-nilly,
yeah,
that's 6 mana.
Good phrase, by the way.
Willy-nilly.
Yeah.
That's 6 mana, and tap your board, fine, for 9 power.
Yep. It's just going to be such a haymaker.
Spread out over 3 creatures, which is sometimes better.
Often.
Especially if they're as big as 3/3s.
Yeah.
Like, if it's 9 1/1s,
you can get wrecked by that black spell.
But that's tough to deal with. A 9/9 is also tough to deal with.
But in a different way.
3/3/3s, I think, is probably the best possible configuration of non-parent of this.
I would probably agree with you.
I will first pick Feral Incarnation over almost any common or uncommon.
It's an excellent card.
I could see taking Banishing Light.
Devouring Light.
Devouring Light, Banishing Light.
That's going to get confusing. Banishing Light is the O-Ring, Devouring Light is the Exile.
Yes.
Thing. What else have we got in green? Did you have anything you wanted to talk? Oh, I wanted to give out about a card.
What card?
Overwhelm.
Oh, I think it's fine.
Okay, here's my issue with Overwhelm, right? It pulls in 2 different directions.
With the Convoke, yes, it does.
It wants you to tap your creatures to cast it. It's a sorcery, so you can't cast it mid-combat with your Vigilance guys and be cute like that. Mm-hmm. It wants you to tap your creatures to cast it. It also wants you to have lots of creatures to attack with.
The thing is, Overrun you only ever cast for 5, and Overrun was busted.
Another key difference between Overrun and Overwhelm?
No trample.
No trample!
However, if you've stalled out, and you're in a lock where maybe they have some other... Maybe they're also green, they have some other big stuff, and you both have 5 or 6 creatures on the board.
Okay.
And you just get to 7 mana.
You just get to 7
Which
mana.
in green, totally possible.
Totally possible.
There's Elvish Mystics doesn't work.
I will admit, if you get into that stalled out state and you've got any number of triplicate spirits in your deck,
you can kill them.
You just win.
But even if you don't, if you just have ground guys, you go, look, I have paid 7 mana.
Yeah.
I'm just going to edict you 6 times with this.
Okay.
Which is not nothing. I'm not saying it's way worse than Overrun and Predatory Rampage and all those.
All those effects, yeah.
But it's not, and I agree. The Convoke is counterintuitive with the trample, not the trample, the anthem and everything. But I don't think it's super terrible. I don't think it's very good. Maybe the fact that
I think people are going to take it higher than they should, and they're going to lose with it in their hand because of it.
Like, is 7 too much
to pay for an Overrun?
Maybe you tap your 2 relevant guys and you cast on turn 5, and you get in with 3 guys who are now huge. They're not trample, but if they triple chump, if you could play 3 green, tap 2 your dudes, kill 3 things, you'd run it. Yeah. I think it might actually be better than you think it is.
I'm willing to be proved wrong, but at the moment I don't think I'm going to be taking it in any way highly. And I think that means I think I'm never going to see it because people are going to take it highly.
Yeah.
Siege Worm is, on the other hand, is a great Convoke spell.
Yes, that is easily a turn 4 or 5 play. Not easily turn 4.
Sometimes turn 4, very often turn 5. And playing a turn 5/5 trample is a very strong play.
Totally fine. Totally, in fact, very good.
Yeah.
Shaman of Spring is great. There's a Roaring Primadox is in this set. It's right there. You have to bench creature every turn. That's the perfect
set
one.
Up an engine.
Roaring Primadox is uncommon. This is common. If you a 4 mana 2/2 that draw the card, it's fine. If you have a way to abuse it, Peel from Reality. If you have to bench one of your things, this is the perfect one.
Yep.
You can even Void Snare it if you just want to spend 5 mana to draw a card. It's not great.
Spend 5 mana and a card.
To cycle.
Spend 5 mana to cycle your Void Snare.
No, you don't cycle it. You do cycle it because you
cycle your Void Snare, yeah.
Not great.
No.
But it's having an effect that you can abuse like that is absolutely relevant. And it's just a fine card.
Great reason to run Hushwing Griff.
It looks like there's a giant holding her instead of it being her hand and not being the angle of the shot.
It does. That's cute.
So what more do you want, really?
Yeah. Verdant Haven's been good in every format it's in.
Wall of Mulch is interesting. I like it.
Yep.
So now that we've reached the end of the colours, do you want to talk about colourless or do you want to talk about the cycles?
I think the only relevant colourless spell that I really want... There's 2. There's...
Bronze Step was fine.
Oh yeah, okay. Artifacts get a little better in this with this sort of an artifact sub theme.
Gargoyle Sentinel, I think, is fine.
Totally playable.
I don't think Brawler's Plate is good, but it's not bad.
I don't like it.
Okay.
4 mana to equip is very hot, a lot.
Juggernaut's great.
Juggernaut's an awesome card.
I like Hot Soup. I don't like playing it really. I don't really like these kinds of cards. It costs 3 to equip, which is a fair chunk.
Yeah, you gave out about
Predator's Helm. Didn't think Predator's Helm was that good.
And that's a worse version of Predator's Helm.
Yeah. Ornithopter is terrible, as we discussed.
Unless you have some way to abuse it. And then I can see running 1, maybe 2.
Rogue's Gloves is a shiftable Ophidian effect.
Awesome card.
It's not quite Ophidian because it does still deal the damage.
Yeah, better than Ophidian.
About artifacts, these are all terrible.
Yeah, okay, let's move on to the cycles portion, shall we?
Sure.
Oh, no, the other one... Actually, there was one last card I want to talk about, and that's the Golem. The
Willforge's Golem?
Yeah, 6 mana, 4/4 with Convoke.
Fantastic.
Excellent card. Anyway, let's do cycles.
So, first of all,
let's start with the worst one.
The Staves.
Staves, indeed. Why are the Staves bad, Dennis? Okay, let me play devil's advocate here for a second. Why are the Staves bad? It's an artifact, right, that you get to just play, and it repeatably gains you life. Every time you play a spell, every time you play a land, you gain life.
I'm going to use an example that happened to me earlier to tell you why these are bad.
Okay.
You played a lot of M14 draft.
I did.
The Staves, were in M14 draft.
They were.
Earlier on, you said to me that you could use the Aether card, which is the one that makes artifacts into a 5/5 thing.
In Soul Artifact.
In Soul Artifact.
I said, yeah.
You were like, you can turn one staff and then in Soul Artifact. And I said, what are you talking about? And you go, turn one staff, turn it into Soul Artifact. And you go, I was like, that doesn't work. And you said, why not? I said, because they cost 3. You said, they cost 3? They're so unplayable
that I didn't know how much they cost because I'd never cast one.
But furthermore,
yeah.
You thought they cost 1 and you still thought they were terrible.
Yeah. Okay, so all joking aside, we talked earlier about how cards that just gain you life are bad, and these don't even gain you enough life to be relevant.
Nope. They'll gain you maybe 5 or 6 lives over the course of the game.
And by that time, you're dead, because on turn 3, you cast a staff.
Now, there is something you can do where if you go monocolor and you have 2 of your colored staff, which you'll get, if it's in the draft, you'll get them.
Yep.
You can gain an insurmountable amount of life.
That is a thing that I have seen set up against me, but you get to a stage where you just run out of cards. And a large portion of the fact that you've run out of cards is 2 of your cards were staffs.
Which are blank, most of the time. They're terrible. Better cycles? Paragon?
Let's talk about Paragons. Okay. Are the Paragons good?
They're all 4 mana 2/2s that give creatures of their respective color +1/+1, and they have an ability of their respective color, which taps them and gives another creature, still of only their respective color, that color's token ability. So white gives vigilance, blue gives flying.
Dennis, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
How many drafts have you done in your life? Ballpark it for me.
I mean hundreds.
Hundreds.
I would have been playing for like 3 years. So
how many of those drafts did you end up with a monocolored deck?
Where I didn't do it as a silly stipulation for video?
Where you just had a monocolored
It's
deck.
gonna be like
2?
Single digits, yeah.
2?
3 or 4, yeah.
Okay.
It almost never happens.
So, and with M15, like you've seen, we've skipped over a lot of cards that we just didn't want to talk about. Things like the Convoke, gain 8 life, stuff like that.
Yeah.
What this means to me is that M15, like a lot of core sets, is a format where you're going to be scrabbling for playables a lot of the time. That means that monocolor is just never going to be an option. You have to play 2 colors to make playable. It's a
core set. It has the normal bad cards that are there to skill test new players.
Now, what percentage of your deck needs to be of a single color before you're happy with a Paragon?
70.
Do you think 70? So in an even 50-50 split, are you happy casting a Paragon?
As a 4 mana 2/2 that makes, we'll say, 1 or 2 of my other creatures in the battlefield bigger and can give them an ability? No.
No?
No, I don't think
You're
so.
not happy. Okay.
It depends on the Paragon and thus depends on the ability, but not really.
Okay, here's another question.
In white, it's better.
Yeah, this brings me on to another one. The best Paragon, be ready with your typey thing, is Paragon of Gathering Mists. In a vacuum, Paragon of Gathering Mists, in my opinion, is the best one.
Because it jumps things.
Because it gives things flying. That's great, right? But then you think about it. In this set, most of the blue creatures that are good have flying or another form of evasion.
Yeah, there aren't a ton of blue creatures full stop, but yeah.
Yeah, blue always has the least creatures. And also, blue seems to be much more about having one thing that can get through in this set. So having
Repeatably, yeah.
having a you're basically pumping one relevant thing.
You're making a lot of assumptions there. You could be pumping 2 welcome turns, which makes them. If you go turn 2 welcome turn, turn 3 welcome turn,
turn 4 paragon.
Turn 4 paragon. You have 2/3/2 flyers,
which is very strong. But I think in this format, I think unsurprisingly the best paragon is going to be the white one. It has the worst ability,
vigilance.
Yeah, but white has this sort of token strategy.
Yeah, this is great with the spirit thing. With triplicate
spirits, with raise the alarm.
Makes them 2/2s, raise the alarm makes them 2/2s.
Mm-hmm. I think Paragon's going to be... I think if you can do that deck...
It would be in white.
I don't think the Paragons are going to be that strong, and I think a problem that people are going to have is taking Paragons early
and forcing monocolor.
And not forcing monocolor, but picking cards in their color that are worse picks than cards in their second color because they want to make their Paragon.
It's an uncommon. You're not going to get two of the same Paragon most of the time. Unless, which I think might be the case, they turn out to be kind of crappy.
Mm-hmm. And then if you can do the 3 white Paragons deck, Jesus.
Yeah, if you have 2 or 3 of them, they'll pump each other.
And
everything else twice, that's very powerful.
So I think the way to play with the Paragons is avoid them for the first little while of the format. Mm-hmm. And then when everyone realizes they're not good, unless I'm wrong,
they could be good.
Yeah, but I think if and when people realize they're not good, have some fun taking 3 of them.
Like at the end of the day, a 4-mana 2/2, not the end of the world.
Yep,
it's close.
It's not a good, like a 3-mana 2/2 is already bad.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so that's the Paragons. We're giving them a not so good.
No, the other cycle is the Kurds.
The Kurd apes. The Kurd chieftain being the most reminiscent of Kurd. Kurd ape was a card in Alpha, which was a single red for a 1/1, I believe. Well, am I right? Single red for... It doesn't matter. Single red for a 1/1, and it got +1/+2 if you control the forest.
I think that's right. I can look it up if you want.
So it became... Yeah, we're going to look up Kurd ape.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, single red for a 1/1, got +1/+2 if you control a forest. So it encourages you to play 2 colors, and if you get forest down on turn 2, is your laptop rolling?
It's just Google Chrome. We're fine.
Okay. If you get a forest down on turn 2, having had your Kurd ape down on turn 1, it's a very aggressive start.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
These are similar.
I was checking how long we've been recording.
How long have we been recording?
Just over an hour.
We should probably move a little. If
we're almost done.
Yeah, we're almost done. Okay, so if you don't have the relevant color, most of these cards, bar 1, are playable.
Yeah, they're fine. A 4-mana 3/3. Fine.
Now, so that means... Okay, so let's say a gold card is in the pack. You open up your pack 1, pick 1, there's a Fleet Feather Cockatrice in the pack.
Great card, but you're committing to 2 colors in your first pick.
However, you open up a pack of M15, and there's a, what's it called? Doomwake Giant.
Yeah.
In the pack. Go ahead and check out Doomwake.
That is from Journey into Nyx.
That's not the card I'm thinking of then. What's the card I'm thinking of?
I don't know.
The Giant. From a Night something Giant?
The black one. Nightfire Giant.
Nightfire Giant. Thank you. Doomwake Giant. Nightfire Giant. In the pack. Excellent card.
5-mana 4/3 in black, playable.
5-mana 5/4 with repeatable burn.
In black red is unbelievable.
Okay. So I would first pick a Nightfire Giant quite happily. Because I know that if I end up in black-white, I can still run a 5-mana
and be really reasonably happy with it.
And if I end up in black-red, then my first pick was very strong. So I prefer these to gold cards.
It's a less aggressive hedge than a normal gold card.
Exactly.
However, you can splash a gold card.
You can splash a Nightfire Giant.
Yeah, but that's not worth it on power level.
Fair.
They are less powerful than pure gold cards. Fleet Feather Cockatrice is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Are there any gold cards in this?
There are 2, if I'm not mistaken.
There's the Garrick. Sliver. Oh, the Garrick, of course, yeah. There you go, Garrick and the Sliver. They're both mythic.
Yeah, so you're not going to see gold cards that often.
Obviously, first pickable.
Yeah, if you open a Garrick, take the Garrick.
Not very good.
Hard to do. I imagine there'll be people moving in on the deck, but the problem is Slivers in M15, there's only 5 and they're all uncommon.
Yeah,
and they're all in different colours.
It's terrible.
Yeah, you're not going to be doing Sliver deck, but if you can get to 5 mana, a 5/5 indestructible for mana...
It's impossible to cast.
We have Verdant Haven and Evolving Wilds, and that's it.
I'm sure there's some artifact that does that fixes in some way.
Yeah, there's Meteorite.
Yeah, Meteorite. Terrible. I hate Meteorite.
Anyway, the Kurd Ape cycle are all very strong, except...
The white one, is it?
The black one. Not the black one, the blue one, I tell a lie.
Yeah, the black one's the best one.
The blue one is a 3-mana 1/3 on its own.
What was it called? Do you remember?
No. There it is.
Yes. Jorubai Murklurker. It's called a Murklurker.
I think that's... Murklurker! I think that's definitely the worst of the Kurd Ape cycle.
Yep, I agree.
completely unplayable body if you don't have the other version of if you don't have the land to back it up, the swamp to back it up, and the ability is good but not excellent. I think the Kurd Chieftain is excellent. I think the Nightfire Giant is excellent. The white one, I
don't remember the name of it.
It's a 2-mana 2/1, and you can pay 3 and a blue to tap something, if I'm not mistaken. River Marshal, Dauntless River Marshal. Dauntless with a D.
There you go.
Dauntless River Marshal. 2-mana 2/1.
Yes, you're right. 3 and a blue.
And then there's...
That's very good.
Yeah. Because a Piker is great. Well, I say
Piker's
average. A 2-mana 3/2 is fantastic, and tapping things is just what you want to do in your blue tempo
repeatable,
deck.
which means that for 8 mana you can tap 2 things, which is not unreasonable.
In your white-blue tempo deck, which might be a thing, tempo deck, then you're going to be very happy with your River Marshal.
Yep.
And if you're just in a white-black grindy deck, a Piker's fine. Which means you can pick up a Dauntless Marshal very early and see if you end up in white-blue.
If you're grindy, you can just put an island in or two.
Yeah.
If you're going to be going long.
What
Can't splash it off of Verdenhaven, can you?
Off of Verdenhaven, no, but you can play Evolving Wilds and be very happy.
Yes.
And then, what am I missing? The green...
And the red.
Green-white is the elf. It's a 1-mana 1/1. On its own, not playable.
Is it in green or is it in white?
It's in green. Sunhaven Elf?
Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
It's something like that.
Sunblade Elf.
Sunblade Elf.
If you control a planes, it's a 1-mana 2/2.
Great. Great.
And the pump ability, I think this one's
completely impossible to play it on turn 1.
No, you can play it on turn 1 if you play the forest, and then you attack.
Then it will attack as a 2/2, yeah.
Yeah, which is what...
I know.
So, I mean, and the ability is very good in your green-white tokens deck.
Yeah, if you have any number of the Triplicate Spirits, it's good. Anything like that.
Raise the Alarm.
But I mean, that's several turns later.
Yeah.
I mean, that being said, if you go forest, this guy, plains, raise the alarm, by the time you get to turn 5, it'll make them formidable.
Sunblade Elf is good as well. I think the only one that I don't like is the blue one.
Okay.
Which is fine. The blue-black.
What's the red one?
The red one is Kurd Chieftain.
Oh, of course.
So, okay. And then we have one more cycle that I did want to mention. I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's a cycle of mythic rares.
The souls.
So, something to... There's one there, Soul of Chantelar.
Probably the best one.
Almost certainly the best one. Now, I don't want to talk about them individually. If you get a soul, play the soul, they're going to be great.
It's also worth a lot of money, so just take it.
So, okay. The other thing... But in M11 and M12 Limited, you were sitting there on turn 6 going, do they have a Titan? If they do, I lose. The souls are very different. They don't have these crazy ETB effects that happen for no mana whenever you attack with them. They're just value creatures.
They can cast a soul and you can turn its flesh to dust unless it's the Phyrexian one.
Well, that doesn't matter. The Phyrexian one is... He has to pay 5 to make
of course.
So, and they do get an effect from the graveyard. They're all very strong and limited, but they're all beatable. And that's
in case
very
you
important.
didn't know, actually, they're all from past sets. Now, the cards themselves aren't.
No, Soul of Chantelar references...
From duels and stuff.
Yeah.
New Phyrexia,
Ravnica, Innistrad... what am I missing? Theros.
The Theros one, the white one's Theros.
The white one's Theros, and I'm missing one.
Is it the green one?
Zendikar.
Oh yeah, Zendikar, of course.
They're all very strong, but they're not on the same game warping level as Titans.
Because you can just kill them after you have a turn. You have a turn.
And also, like, they're spending a lot of mana to use the effects. Titans you didn't have to spend.
No.
So they're very good, but they are beatable. So don't panic if you see a soul.
You can beat it.
I
think that's it.
That's it for cycles. What do you want to... I wanted to do a general impressions of the format kind of thing.
I think red seems like the most powerful colour.
Okay.
I think black is very good. I think blue is okay.
I think blue can be very strong if you set it up right, but it's not
a
as
very good support
powerful as red. Yeah.
Green seems very powerful. I'm not a big fan of white.
White has its recurring problem of having too many cards that are dedicated life gain.
It's going to be it's what happened in M14.
It's going to be very
weighed
difficult
down by its life gain cards.
It's going to be very difficult to make playables. Yeah, which makes the white Paragon strategy worse.
They have given it the best removal spells this time around.
Yeah, so I think white is going to be better when it's paired.
But I mean, it had pacifism in M14.
Pacifism was very strong.
Pacifism is one of the best removal spells ever.
Yeah.
And that didn't help. It was still terrible.
Yeah. You could get 4 pacifisms and still have an awful day.
We'll see this time around. It doesn't look as terrible as it did then.
Nope.
And it wasn't completely unplayable in M14. It was just the worst color.
Yeah, you had to use the removal as a light splash in your whatever other color.
Yeah.
Pack. So
I'm excited.
Okay,
I'm excited for this.
What about aside from colors? How do you feel the format? Do you feel it's a fast format, a slow format?
It seems pretty middling. Yeah. I think there's going to be some silly ramp things you can do with a Generator Servant, or even with an Elvish Mystic, and Convoke will let you do things very early if you can get lots of creatures out. I think it could be tempo driven because there's a lot of tempo in blue.
Yeah.
And because you can ramp things out, that's also in that ballpark.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem slow. I don't think it's going to be slow.
M14 was the slowest format
in a while.
And this is just not like that.
I don't think it's going to be like that.
My impression of the format is this is going to be a format that's not about I play some cards and I use them well and I kill you with them.
Yeah.
This is going to be a haymaker format. You're going to be doing huge things that are going to change the state of the game very often.
And then probably getting them heat raid.
And then probably getting them heat raid, yeah. But I think in a lot of colours you're going to be making enormous plays that are going to win or lose the game.
Like there are common spells here that can act like bombs.
Jungle Worm,
for example. Siege Worm.
There's an uncommon.
Jungle Worm is a different card. Jungle Worm is
Siege Worm, sorry. Yeah. There's three. There's an uncommon that makes 3/3/3s.
Yeah.
Very last thing. What is the best pre-release promo? What color are you going to be pre-releasing?
Black.
Why is it the best pre-release promo?
Because it's super. I'm going the wrong way. No, I'm not.
You're not. Go up to black.
It's super. It's the
tormenting
thing.
Where is it?
Don't die on me now, man.
Oh, come on. Okay, but it's essentially a 5-mana 4/4.
Is it a 4/4?
5/4.
It's a 5/3, isn't it?
Is it 5/3?
It's a 5/3.
I'm all wrong.
I do not want to change the colour scheme to improve performance.
Technical difficulties here. It's not Obnixilis.
It is. It could have been. It's
Indulgent Tormentor. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card unless target opponent sacrifices a creature or pays 3 life. It's a very efficient body. 5-mana 5/3 flying is stupid, and you're going to get so much advantage out of it. 3 life. Sometimes it's a 5-mana 8/3 flying.
Yes.
And sometimes you're drawing cards off it, and it's ridiculous.
It is.
Sometimes you're killing creatures with it.
The other ones are 7 drops.
Yep. All quite clunky.
It's very, very, very good, and is
black is also very efficient.
I think they've made the mistake again with the pre-release promos. I don't think it's quite as egregious as the Dawnbringer Charioteers.
Yeah,
but
there's one that is much. I think if they made up Nicholas the pre-release,
would have been fine.
It would have been fine. That's all. I think so. Yeah.
Let us know if you like this sort of thing.
Yeah, do. You can let us know either in the comments section below.
You can message us on Twitter. I am at Stranjak.
I am at Seriously Oisin.
We are
at Windmill Slam MTG.
You can email us at windmillslammtg@gmail.com.
Yeah, and you can also come to Denis's house. His address is. I'm not telling you his
Don't
address.
do that. Thanks.
Yeah.
I stream sometimes. That's the thing I do now.
Oh yeah, Denis has been streaming. It's been a bit of fun.
It's twitch.tv/Stranjak. You can follow me on there and you'll get
I might show up every once in a while, but
absolutely.
It's mostly just going to be Denis.
You're more than welcome. You can watch on MTG Academy and all of that. We are approaching 1,000 subscribers as this comes out.
So tell your friends to subscribe so you get your 1,000 subscriber special faster.
Special video thing.
Special video.
We've got a special video thing happening. Thank you for watching. You've been lovely.
Yeah, if you're still
presumably.
Listening. Yeah, well, we haven't heard a peep out of you. You've been a very good audience.
We'll see you next time.
Is it off? Did it stop recording?
Yeah, no, we're good.
Okay. Do you think they bought it?
Oh, yeah. You think they honestly would realise that we fed them heaps of false information to mislead them?
This is going to be fantastic. Millions of people are going to watch this.
Millions.
Pretty much everyone who plays on Magic Online is going to watch this.
I think people who don't play Magic will watch it, but yeah.
Yeah. And then every time we come up against someone in a draft, they'll be using this ridiculous information we fed them and we'll destroy them.
We told them Ornithopter was bad.
It's free!
It's a free card!
Oh!
Shit! No, it's going to take a while because it's over an hour. Good. I hope the performance stutter didn't ruin it. Wonder if that'll affect the recording.
Let's find out.
That's our longest video.
Mm-hmm.
By not a short margin.
Okay.
I'm worried it's taking this long. If this is... I can cut this out. Yeah. I can actually cut this out.
Energy.
It's compressing a lot of audio, don't worry.
Should it not give us a little screen that's saying compressing?
It does sometimes it doesn't. Being very gentle with it.
It's okay.